Hey, Andrea, thanks so much for
Hello.
joining me.
Of course. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. And I am so excited to hear more on your story and to be able to share your experience with, potential clients, or just even women who like need validation and hope. Because man, you have been through it, but you have also just been so on the money about curiosity and like digging into this program and really taking like all that it could offer you. And I think getting to hear that kind of experience and what it looks like on the other side of that is going to be so helpful for anyone
Yes.
watching, right?
Oh my gosh, of course. I have so much I could say. So I'm excited.
Great. We'll say it all. We'll say it all. Awesome. So, why don't you just kick us off by telling me a little bit more about yourself and your background? Obviously, I know it, but for anyone who's watching.
No, absolutely. So I'm 29. I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I work in HR at a pharma company, so small startup environment. I've been in the industry for a while, so it's always an exciting place to be. And outside of work, I'm a runner. I love to travel. Traveling is the absolute passion, love of my life, and reading and hanging out with friends. Feel like I always struggle when people say, "What are your hobbies?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, but those are my interests."
I'm like being an interesting person around other
Yes.
interesting people. I remember that too. I was always like socializing.
Yeah.
But I hear you. I hear you. That's awesome. And like I love you do such a good job of balancing like badass career chick with like, I know that the world, is so big and so vast and I should explore it. And I feel like that was a really big motivator for you was being able to have that balance that you had had in the past of, being able to be driven in one capacity and area in your life, career, but also remembering like the whole point of this life, right, is to enjoy ourselves. And so,
Yes.
why don't you talk to me a little bit about what led you to nervous system work in general? Then we can talk about the program.
Yeah, and that's the nail on the head for sure. So I've always been, as stated by that description, like a go-getter, like kind of your typical like overachiever, your straight A college student turned marathon runner, just like very stereotypical. And was always very goal-oriented, wanting to chase the next thing, driven in my career, chasing the world major marathons. And in the fall of last year of 2024, I crashed and burned. I started feeling super off. I was having anxiety that I had never had before. I was having all these like physical symptoms, like my digestive system was off. I had gained weight, just felt really out of my body, like didn't feel good. I was losing my motivation. And that's startling when you've been someone who's like, I'm motivated, I'm going to get it. You almost question your identity. You're like, I don't want to do the things that I normally want to do. And what does that mean? And I didn't, nervous system work was not known to me at all, to be honest. And one day I stumbled upon one of your actually Instagram posts, and it really resonated with me. It was a couple things that were kind of clues that maybe you're kind of stuck in your nervous system regulation. And I said, wow, that's so interesting. That really does resonate. And I remember I DM'd you and we had connected to learn more about the program. And the more I learned about it, I was like, this seems on the money for me. Like, this exactly matches up with what I am experiencing. And you feel hopeful and you feel scared that you feel hopeful because you're like, I don't know what this is going to look like. And it definitely felt like a leap of faith. Of course, now on the other side, obviously, I'm like, thank goodness that it took that leap of faith. But it just seemed like this was work that would not only help where I was, but also like some of the things in that post were things I had done my whole life. And so it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this actually really ties everything together really well. And I thought I could benefit from this.
Ooh, I love that. I love that you talked about like really when you take a step kind of away and you look at some of these patterns and behaviors that kind of eventually led into that burnout. I had the same experience as you. For me, it was so startling. Like I even shared recently in like a speech that I was giving, I was like literally over 2 days, like out at a bar, 2 days later in bed. And now, of course, I'm like, oh, there was so much evidence, right? But
Yep.
in it and we're so in that drive and so in that go 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 and it really in a way measures our worth and measures how we feel
Yes.
we can show up. You talked about identity and all of that. It's
Yeah.
no wonder that it feels like it comes on like a brick wall, and that is so scary
Yeah.
because you're right. At that point, if you've been driving in that capacity, and you attribute your worth and identity to it, then you go, who even, like, what do I even do?
Yes.
Right? And I'm so glad you brought up feeling like it was on the money, like I felt hopeful, and I'm super scared
Yeah.
because I always say it would be so weird if we weren't skeptical, right? You
Yeah.
guys are now in this space where you're feeling so activated and you're like, is this a bot? Is this like a I don't know. Does she actually credentialed?
Yep.
It's honestly just relatable. And I'm really happy that you entered an environment where that was celebrated and not like
Yeah.
shamed, you know?
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit in the program specifically. So I know you joined, you just felt like it was really on the money, which is what we're so good at. We just see that like if women relate into our Instagram, then they're going to probably be a good fit for the program,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so when you came into the program, what are some of the aspects of the program that you really enjoyed? And then we can kind of talk about how that resulted in your change, but the program specifically.
I mean, the whole thing. No, bits and pieces. I think the community aspect was huge. One of the biggest things is like when you're obviously you know this, but when someone's going through this, you feel so alone and you feel like no one understands what I am going through. Like
Mhm.
I, even like when I was having my symptoms, I went to the doctor and they were like, all your testing's normal. We have no idea. So it's really hard and you feel lost and you feel scared. So I loved the community aspect of this and being able to have other women who are also just badass and want to, change the world, but are also going through the same things that I am. And so having the group calls and hearing people share, I mean, every group call I'm on, I have an aha moment of, oh, wow, I'm going through that too.
Mhm.
And just having that, the time with the coaches obviously is incredible. Just knowing that you have someone that if you're like, I have a question or I need something, you have someone that you can go to and you have that real time support. It's not just, here you go, like figure it out. So I've really appreciated that. And then the openness to just finding what works for you. I think I would guess that a lot of programs have a pretty strict regimen. And what I
Mhm.
love about this program is that from the get-go, it was find what works for you. And it is okay if something that we're presenting for you doesn't work. It's like find your own kind of special sauce. And I'm sure it looks different for everyone, but just all of the tools and like the resources that we've been presented with, it's so helpful. And so over time, you kind of figure out, okay, this is something that I love and this makes me feel really good. And this is something that maybe doesn't resonate as much, but I'm glad I tried it because now I know. It's just so many things that I could say, but I feel like those are what sticks out to me that I've really liked the most.
Oh, I love that. We have the most awesome community, right?
We
Like,
do. We
just
really
so
do.
cool and good. I love them all. I'm just like, Emma and I are always like, oh God,
I
okay.
know.
And what I love too is, you know, part of the reason that I work with this group of women, these ambitious, badass, driven, like in all these different ways. And I always say, never through a capitalist lens. Like it
Yep.
can be career driven, but you're also driven by travel and passion. And
Yes.
like you guys are so profound and multifaceted. And it's like I am one and also was one who when I was stuck in dysregulation, right? As many of us are when we first come in, or as all of us are, I guess, when we first come in. Um, and at the same time that we all have this similarity or these kind of similar ways of moving through the world and maybe
Yeah.
behaviors and patterns and protective mechanisms that we adopted and became kind of type A perfectionist, like almost driven sometimes through fear instead of
Yep.
opportunity, right?
Yeah.
We still all have unique data sets. We still all have our own information that our nervous system has taken in. And I can't imagine, and I mean, I really do remember this on my journey, that it was a lot of one size fits all. It was a
Mhm.
lot of like, this is the practice. Enough scientific studies have shown that this practice works, and therefore just follow what everyone else is doing. And I think there's a lot lost when we don't get to adapt and kind of take that resistance from the nervous system as data as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
Awesome. So, talk to me about some of your changes. This is my favorite part.
This is the best part. Oh my gosh.
Talk to me
There's
about some of the changes that you experienced. I know you had so many, and I'm like, I don't want to call
so
them out
many.
you to leave, but also some of it too.
No, please do if I miss anything because you've seen I think just so many changes in me. Um Having so much self-compassion first of all, and that you don't realize that you don't until you're kind of put in this environment where that's so encouraged and welcomed. And I realized that, you learn in this program that everything your body does is to protect you. And that's a really hard thing to wrap your head around when you've spent so much time fighting with your body. And early on, one of kind of the aha moments I had was like, we're on the same team. Like my body and I, we are on the same team. My body is trying to protect me. And just that self-compassion that comes with it, especially like dealing with injury as a runner, which is something that has also been happening in tandem with going through this program. It's like my body's just trying to protect me. And it can be easy to get frustrated and at the physical symptoms that you're having. Like no one wants to be in dysregulation, obviously. And it can be really frustrating, but like leaning in with way more self-compassion has been really huge. Um, Basking in joy has been one of my favorite parts of this program. And healing has always felt so heavy to me. It's like, oh my God, I have to do this work. I'm in the work. I'm in the work. And the fact that through this program, I've been not only like highly encouraged, like to take a step away whenever you need and just actually bask and feel the joy of your life. It's like so it seems so simple, but it's so novel and it's not something that we're told. I'm like, wow, I've never actually in my life like really sat down and just enjoyed those quiet moments. So the fact that we're just continuing to do that and practicing that has been huge. Like being able to be more present and just feeling more joy in my life, feeling my emotions more, realize I was suppressing a lot. And it's like,
All
it
of
can
us.
be, it can be overwhelming, right? But
Yeah.
it's incredible to just feel the full spectrum of emotions. It's like, the happiness and the joy that I have been able to feel over the last couple months is like bigger than I have felt in my entire life.
Mm.
So I could keep going. So,
Well, I want to touch on a few things, and then yeah,
yeah,
you just keep it. I'll just let you rip the whole rest of the time. That joy piece, that basking in
yeah,
joy, I say that all the time. And I love that you talked about how it feels simple. We kind of like mentally get it, but we always talk in this program about intellectual shifts versus emotional shifts. And we're
yeah,
all freaking smart women. And if it was enough for us to just have an intellectual knowledge of something and think our way into it, I wouldn't have a job. Like if anyone can do it, if anyone can think their
yeah.
way into healing, it would be this group of women. And they
Yes.
can't, right? Like it's like the smartest women. And so, that shift where, and that's really what we stick around for, that I think a lot of programs kind of almost, I want to almost say miss, because there's
Yeah,
so much joy on the other side of seeing a client through that emotional shift
yeah,
versus just giving that information. Because we all have different data, it's going to come at a different time. And I do remember you even having a point, little identity crisis, feeling some of the feelings come
yep,
up in the activation where you were like, what about these goals with running? And what about like these emotions I'm feeling? Am I stuck in feeling all of these things? And like, I don't like
yeah,
it yet, and seeing
yeah,
work your way through the other side and being able to support you and that, mentor you in that, and
yeah.
our team as well, has just been the most gorgeous experience. I have shed many a tear of gratitude
Oh,
for you because you really stuck with it. You were like, this
yeah,
flows, which is so true.
yeah,
And the yes, and I'm going to tell you guys about it. And I'm going to put myself out there
yeah,
and say, I need support. And that to me is one of the most powerful shifts I saw in you, is that
yeah.
hyper independence, that like, I can do this on my own. You can, but like, wasn't it so much nicer when you didn't and you got that support?
Yes,
It was just
yes.
incredible to see you open up in that way. I mean, it was just amazing.
No, that's so true. And I see that in my life too. Just yeah, you get that in your head, you're that hyper, it's perfectly said. I mean, hyper independent, and I've always prided myself on that.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you're like, "Wait, no, I want to and I can lean on people." And then I've always felt, I mean, anytime that I've been like, "Oh, should I go to the group? Should I not?" And I do, I'm so happy I did. And you just feel that connection and you're like, "Right, this is it's just so validating. It's so validating to have others to lean on and just know that what you're going through is normal. And it sucks, but it's normal and you're gonna work through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else that you want to share that I didn't touch on yet? Which you don't have to, but I was like to ask.
Ooh, so many let me think. I think one thing I want to touch on is that identity piece because I think this is really, I would imagine, and from what I've heard from other women in the program, it's really common where you come in and you're mourning this old version of
Mm,
yourself. You're
so
like for me, I was like, I was this runner, I was this person who had it all together. Now what am I? Who am I? And
Mhm.
there's a bit of this, I think you start off in the program, or at least I did, being like, I want to get back to that version of myself. And then slowly as you move through, you're like, wait, I actually don't want to be that version of myself. I want to be a better version. And by better, I don't mean like achieving more. I mean happier, more peaceful, more well balanced. And so it's this weird like metamorphosis where you go from mourning and there's sadness there because you're like, yeah, of course I don't feel good right now. And I miss that time when I did feel good. But balancing that with, wow, now I've learned all of these tools that I can balance. And for me, like, I love my discipline. I love that I'm a disciplined girly. And there was a while where I was like, am I losing that part of myself? Like I haven't been doing XYZ. And now I'm thinking, wow, how cool is it that I can take that part of myself that I love, but keep all of that knowledge and the information I've learned in this program to like merge together. And I think about this with running. I just got back into running after like 6 months off. So I'm so excited. And of course, there's a part of you that's like, what is this going to look like? But I'm like, I think it's going to be better because now I listen to my body. I have such like more open communication. I think it'll be way better balanced. And there's not going to be guilt if I, miss a workout or whatever. It's just, there's
Yeah.
so many things that are kind of waiting for you on the other side. So that's, I think
Yeah.
the identity piece, I would guess, is something that a lot of people go through. And it's something that for me was this like crazy journey, but you come on the other side and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And kind of have the best of both worlds here.
I am so glad you brought this up because I remember us having this
Yeah.
conversation where we kind of talked about like a la carte, so to speak, where we don't necessarily, we really don't, maybe at all, but like it kind of depends on your journey. You
Mhm.
don't have to actually look that different externally after you regulate. The
Yeah.
difference is you're not doing all those things to appease other people or because you think
Yes.
you should or because you're beating yourself up into doing them.
Yeah.
So you want to take your badass, discipline driven, whatever self, because that's the type of woman that you want to be and have impact in the
Yeah.
world and drive forward. But you get to keep all of that stuff and not do it through this lens of like fear and like shame and
Yeah.
guilt. And it really becomes a superpower. You become more
Yeah.
efficient, more effective. You're like clear headed. You like,
Yeah.
it really does become your greatest opportunity to have impact in whatever way you want in your life without running the risk that at any moment in the future you're going to crash and burn again. Like your pain tolerance goes down, so you catch yourself,
Yes.
you know your body, and I just know running is going to be fabulous for you because you're going to check in. It's going to actually be
Yes.
an engaged process instead of an autopilot process, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be different, but I think in a really positive way.
I'm so excited to hear more on it.
Me
You'll have to
too.
fill me all in.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, the last question I like to ask anyone, and I know you've touched on this like a little bit,
Yeah.
but talk to me if somebody was watching this and they were like, I don't know, and I'm skeptical, and just all the fears that are so legitimate and valid,
Yeah.
right? What would you say to somebody who's considering this program and this work?
Yeah, I was in the same position. You're hopeful but fearful, you're skeptical, you don't know. And I think this is the best investment I've ever made. I think that this is life-changing in the craziest, most wonderful way possible. I cannot speak more highly of joining this program. I think that what you're going to take out of it is gonna change your life and it's gonna stick with you forever. I had a moment where, you have this intro call and you're learning about the program and you're deciding. And I remember I had this flash of like, oh my God, I actually feel better and maybe I don't need this. And you almost talk yourself out of it. You're like, no, I'm fine. I don't actually need this. I can do this. And my gut just told me, no, I think this is something that's going to be really good for you. And then talking to you, Kate, you were like, that's a common experience. Like you kind of have this flash of hope. And you're like, oh, well, this is, maybe this would actually work, or maybe I don't actually need this. And yeah, that to me was indicative of like, I think this is like a glimpse of how I could feel if I joined this program. And I was just really, really happy that I took the plunge. Every woman in this program just sees the most incredible changes. I mean, you've seen it more than anyone. I've
Yeah.
even seen it on group calls. Like I've been able to root for these women who a couple months ago were sharing things, and now I'm like, oh my God, you're rooting for each other too because you're in this community. So I would absolutely encourage it. Take the leap. It is so worth it, and it's it's your health and it's your life, and you're just going to be able to like embrace life so much more, and you don't have to be stuck in this, survival state forever. It sucks and it's hard to feel hopeful, but it truly, truly is so much better on the other side. Like it
Mm.
just, I can't express it enough. I would highly encourage it.
You're gonna make me cry.
I have so many
You
feelings about this
often
program.
and what I want to say on that is like, one, yes, it literally changes your life. And it is
Yeah.
so because you say that to somebody and they're like, no way. Like
Yeah.
but it's too profound in a way to explain until you're on the other side and you just feel some of us haven't ever experienced what
No.
it's like to feel consistently regulated. So it's really hard to
Yeah.
access. So the fact that you listened to your gut, that you went, you know what? This is my health.
Yeah.
This is the foundation of the way that I move through everything else. And then you learn how much the nervous system is literally our biological foundation. So it
Yeah.
really makes sense to go, in this direction. But all of that said, this was all you. And I think that's something that's really important. And I talked, with our assistant coaches about that as well, which is we are guides, we are not healers. We don't heal you guys, you heal yourself. And so there's just this important moment, I think, of yes, totally. And let's celebrate the heck out of you for how much you came into the program. You came in skeptical, you came in fearful, and
Yeah.
it doesn't look like you have to just jump right in the modules or jump into
No.
the homework, but instead what it was is that you shared that with us. And we always say
Yeah.
communication is the most important piece, and we don't care if you don't do anything else, because if you communicate, we can work with it and we can figure it out, right?
Yep.
Um, and that's a huge testament to you. And you have just become a mentor in this community and a guide for so many other women. And it is just a beautiful, I mean, it's like the coolest ripple effect to witness. And I'm so honored and grateful that you're in our space, right? It has just been a joy. It has literally been a joy.
Good. Now you're gonna make me cry. No,
Yeah.
it's tr there's I don't even know how to express it. You're right. It's hard and you can't explain to someone, and you only understand it when it's happening, but it's just you don't even always realize it's happening. Like I got back from my recent trip, which was a time where I truly just set aside the work and absorbed and basked in joy, which was what you guys encouraged me to do. And I was like, wow, that was transformative. Like I got to just that was the true essence for me of like why I did this. I was traveling, I was with my friends, I was feeling this joy and this happiness and this peace. And those are the moments where you're like, "Oh my gosh, like this is just the most worth it thing that I've ever done." You're just like, "Ooh, it's just that good like gooey feeling of life that you're like, "Oh, this is amazing."
Yeah, it's like curling up in the cozy blanket, like snuggle
Yes.
up, but like as your life feeling. It's like very
Yes,
cool.
yes.
You're so incredible. And thank you because I already know I'm like sitting here, I'm beaming because your success and what you've done. And just like, it's just amazing to watch your journey. And I'm beaming because had I in the position I was in, and I'm sure so many other women heard this, right? They would have so much hope. They would feel like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get through this. And so just the amount of service you've provided through simply showing up here and again just being communicative and transparent is amazing. And so I'm so grateful for you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this. I literally could talk for hours about everything that I've learned in this program. So it's no, it's been and I'm just excited to continue. I love this community. I love this program, and yeah, I'm just really, really so grateful. I had one of those moments last week where I said, I am so grateful to the me that took this leap of faith
Mhm.
because,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, there's no words. I'm just really grateful.
You're so awesome. You're so awesome. All right, my love. Well, I'm gonna go cry in a corner somewhere of gratitude. And I will talk
Honestly,
to you
same.
later. So thank you so much for coming
Of
on and for
course.
talking with me. And I will see you in the community shortly. I'll shoot you a text.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.